The EVGA GeForce GTX 660 Ti, announced and released way back in Q4 of 2012, making this card 4 years old. Being based on the Kepler architecture from Nvidia, is it still a worthy card for 1080p gaming? That's what we'll be answering in today's review video of the GTX 660 Ti. First, starting with the nitty-gritty details, at its heart, it's a GK104 processor clocked at 915MHz base clock and 980MHz boost clock. But I've seen this card ramp up a lot higher than officially stated. Right now, it must sound slow, but fear not, because it's a very capable card for its age, and it's mostly because of the 2GB frame buffer at its side, and 1344 CUDA cores to help with processing. The memory it's featuring is the industry standard of GDDR5 at 6GB per second on a 192-bit bus, all of which making it a high-end to enthusiast grade class of its architectural family. Now, the reason why you came here, the numbers and benchmarks. I've tested this card through 5 games. I didn't want to put it through its paces on a broken game, so I've only used games that run well on PC. Also because my Steam library isn't very impressive. The super recent 2016 titles haven't been used because they run at console grade experiences on this graphics card, which isn't something a PC gamer should aim for. All games are tested at 1080p at settings which wouldn't cripple its performance, because this card is 4 years old after all. I've tried to use in-game benchmark tools where I could for accuracy, and several samples were taken. The testbed was my personal system, which has an Intel Core i7-4790K clocked at 4.2 GHz, an EVGA GeForce GTX 660 Ti of course, 16GB of DDR3 RAM clocked at 2133 MHz on an MSI Z97 G43 platform, a Samsung A50 EVO holding the OS and some games, paired with a Western Digital 1TB 7200 RPM hard drive. First and foremost, I like to show you the pass mark scored achieved by some of the most renowned graphics cards of the moment. Now, you might own one or two of these graphics cards, so you can have a small idea of how the 660 Ti will perform against its competitors. Pause the game here if you want to see the scores for longer, otherwise I'll continue on to the video game benchmarks. Starting off the benchmarks, we have GTA 5. It's running at high settings with advanced graphics disabled, FXAA turned on and no MSAA. GTA 5 saw very good performance considering its intensity on frame buffer. Even if it is running at high settings, I think the card performs just great and the game still looks fantastic. The GTA 5 was also the only game I tested with a stable overclock on the graphics card, since it has its own in-game benchmarking utility, and the overclock definitely did help with performance. But surprisingly enough, it also dipped lower than stock frequency too, but this shouldn't be a problem since it won't happen very frequently, and the average frame rate is still a nice 7 frames higher than the stock clocks. Next, we have Serious Sam 3 BFE. This game is quite popular on Steam with a very positive rating from user reviews. The game is running at ultra settings and maxed out completely, and well, the 660 Ti performs great, seeing that the game only came out 1 year before the actual graphics card. The game might have dipped down into the 50s, but the game's average is well in the 60s to 70s range, so any dip shouldn't be a problem. The next game in our benchmark is Battlefield 4. This game is very well optimized for the PC, and it shows that the 660 Ti is still an amazing graphics card and can push very high level of details onto your screens. The game dipped down into the 70s and averaged in the high 80s, so it's still well in the sweet spot for competitive PC gaming and stunning visuals. Bumping up the graphics to ultra and you'll see your frame rate slaughtered into the low 40s and 50s, so I wouldn't recommend ultra settings if you're running this card in your gaming rig. The next game I tested was Rocket League at ultra settings with FXAA at high. Now, this game runs perfectly smooth. If you enable VSync, you will not see a single dip in frames, since the 660 Ti can average at over 100 frames per second. That's crazy, and the reason why it performs so well on this game is because Rocket League runs off of DirectX 9. So if Rocket League ever gets a sequel, I'm sure the 660 Ti will cope very well. Last game I benchmarked was Borderlands, the pre-sequel. This game was running at ultra setting, physics turned down to low and view distance also at low. Now, you can get away with a high view distance, but quite frankly it's not really worth it, and also turning up physics will cripple your frame rate, so don't even think about trying that. The game dips into 60 exactly and averaging at over 100 frames per second, making this game perfect for the 660 Ti. Conclusion time. Is this graphics card any good? Yes, it's amazing for its age and performance even 4 years down the line. Who's the graphics card for anyways? But to put it short, it's for those who are playing games released before 2015. That's it. All major games in 2015 and after are just too demanding for this graphics card, unless you're willing to turn down some settings. Can you play League of Legends, Dota, Minecraft and Skyrim with this? Well, of course, a sack of potatoes can run those games at well over 60. Advice that I can give for this card: if you find it under £80, go for it. If you find it for more than that, then you might as well dive into Nvidia's 900 series and AMD's R9 300 series, since those are just miles better than what was made 4 years ago. Graphics cards depreciate in value quite fast, especially with age and newer graphics card being released. And with Pascal and Polaris just around the corner, that means that you should only get the 660 Ti if you find it for dirt cheap. Hey, this is my first video review, so drop a like if you found this helpful or entertaining. Comment below if you're interested in buying this card, or if you already have a card that smacks the 660 Ti's ass. I'm now the proud owner of a GTX 970 G1 Gaming from Gigabyte, so if this video gets a positive response, I might just review that. And wherever in the world you are, have a lovely day and peace out.